guess we'll start off with as far as how's Coach Lucius this weekend? He's back practicing.
He's good. Yeah, he's good. I mean, and knock on wood, nothing happens between now and then that's different. But he's in great spirits. I think he's hungry to play. Just trying. Sometimes as a coach, you got to temper a little bit of the excitement. But he's cleared and he's full go.
You got to touch on it a little bit after the game, Friday or Saturday, about like just missing him a little bit. What areas maybe when he wasn't out there did you think maybe you could have helped or you missed him in some respects?
Well, I think if you go back and look at our series against Minnesota at Minnesota, he was very impactful. 5-on-5, power play. Our power play wasn't what it needed to be this weekend. We had a late power play on Saturday, and I don't think we got a shot on net. So our execution was off there. He's a gifted offensive player that is rounding out his game and being a guy that plays in both ends. And he produces offense for us. He was our leading scorer coming into the weekend. And just his presence. I think he's got a calming presence in our locker room, on our bench. He's an integral player for us. I think the guys missed him, and so did the staff, and we're glad that he's back with us.
How did playing Notre Dame fairly recently, how does that help when you get him again, more later? Basically, you don't have to do as much digging into the details there, I guess.
That's the first. There's less rubber on the road from the last time that we played them, as when we were introduced in being on the road at Notre Dame. They're playing well right now. If you've looked and you watch tape on them from when we played them, I just think they're really hitting their stride. They've got a young group up front that every single weekend they're growing. Landon Slagert's a really good hockey player. Their defensive core is playing well. And I think they've got one of the best goalies in the country in Bishop. So very well coached, but playing them just recently, probably a little less work for my staff on preparation, but they're playing very well right now, so I think they'll be a difficult out.
What was that like to see that place filled up? For us it felt like old times, but to see that much, so many people in the building, that much energy, and then to come away with a shootout win, so to speak, and just to feel that. And then I take a look at the tickets for Friday and Saturday for Notre Dame, and that's got to feel good too.
Well, first of all, you want to send those people home happy that were kind enough to come out. And what a weekend of being a Badger, let alone a Badger hockey player, a coach, part of our program. When you have 12 plus 13 on Friday, and then the place is sold out on Saturday. The Kohl Center is a very special place when it's full. And I thought, and I mentioned this when we talked after the game, they make an impact. The next morning, my wife and I and a couple of friends came over to watch Coach Guard's club go head-to-head with Purdue, sold out all the way up to the rafters. Very intimidating place. It's just entertainment. And so when we do what we're supposed to do as far as giving an effort and providing entertainment for the people that spend the money, that's a win for both sides. For us as coaches, you want that place to be as intimidating as it can be, and when it's full, it definitely is that.
And you often credit Tony for keeping guys here before he left. And you brought a couple guys with you that have made an impact as well, and Simon's one of those guys. What kind of special player is he?
Well, he's a prototypical power forward that is still trying to get him to shoot the puck because he does it so well, and he can impact a game that way. The second piece of that, when he walks in this building, if you happen to see him in the hall, I guarantee he's got a smile on his face. He loves the game. He loves being around this. I think he feels he's fortunate to be a part of Badger hockey. And he brings that energy every day, and that's something as a coach that's really invaluable. You want guys that bring that energy every day, and Simon definitely does that.
You're in this cycle of seeing a lot of teams, all these teams, you're seeing them for the second time, or I guess third and fourth time technically, but how does your week-to-week approach change as a coach and as a a staff when you're getting ready to see teams that you're more familiar with at this point?
Well, you try and draw on some experiences if you're on the other side of the coin. Like, I'll give you an example. Michigan State swept us. We won't play them until the end of the year, but I will tell you from Monday on, the idea of us having 0 points and them having 6 is a motivating factor. So if that coin's on the other side, as it is this weekend with Notre Dame, I know Notre Dame's going to be very excited about coming into our building to try and make sure they get it back to even in the series. You start at the beginning of a year on the idea of you want to win each series in your league. We won 9 of 12 points from Minnesota. That was important for us because we want to have that in the standings. It helps you at the end of the year for pairwise. And it's no different with what is going to happen this weekend. But really, for the most part, we want to defend our home ice. We did at times to satisfaction this last weekend, but we want to make sure we're getting off to a better start than we did last weekend this Friday.
Don't rest for you with what they did against a team like Michigan State last weekend, and how does that show their growth as a team since the last time you guys saw them?
I think it shows what the Big Ten is, which you're going to get tested every single weekend. And if you're not on point, if you don't get off to a good start, you start playing from behind. Notre Dame's a team that is as detailed as anybody in our league and as detailed as what I've seen as anybody in the country. I think their staff does a great job. And as I mentioned, those young guys are getting less young as the season progresses. So they're a little more confident. So, for us, the battle is right now ourselves. We've got to get back to some of the things that make us successful, and we're working on that this week.
The standings are out there, the pairwise is out there, everyone sees them. I'm sure you guys see them, the players see them. Is that what's a good balance of how much to pay attention to those things as opposed to you're focusing on your what you have right in front of you? Because you want to feel the excitement of being in a chase, I would imagine, but sometimes that can be overwhelming too.
Yeah, just trying to ask them, one thing that was interjected on these guys recently is they went back to school. That we had a long break from when our first semester was done with finals up until starting the second semester. And, they really are just worrying on their training, their nutrition, preparation for hockey, and then school gets to be part of a very important piece of their day. And so we've got to make sure that we're on point with that as a staff, make sure that's given time that they have. It's something more on their plate. So just let them just stay on their dailies of what they're doing every day. At the end of the day, we'll deal with it. The standings will be with what they are. We want to have that last weekend make a difference. Hopefully it's for a championship. I'm going to guarantee you it's going to be for playoff seeding. That'll get here soon enough. We've got to crush our Tuesday. That's really what we want them focused on because that's what they get at control, and we're going to stay with that. Coaching staffs and others can worry about those other things. Just we'll inform them, keep them informed, but let them stay focused on what they get at control.
Since the resumption of Big Ten play, 3 of the 4 games, I think the teams had 2 or fewer penalties in those games, and 2 high-intense, really intense series, Michigan, Minnesota. Just how difficult is that, and how much of a challenge is it, especially as the stakes get higher for guys to stay out of the box and avoid those kind of situations?
Well, if you look at some of the teams that are most successful this year, and this is a compliment to the University of North Dakota, they're one of the top 10 least penalized teams in the country. They're 2 in the pairwise. Every little thing matters. So whether it's discipline of staying out of the box, finding a way to be creative and successful on the power play, your penalty kill being point on. Our penalty kill has been pretty rock solid other than the Michigan series. And a lot of that has been because we haven't taxed them. We haven't put them out there and put ourselves in that situation more often than we should. So the discipline piece, we need that to continue while we're still balancing some of the others.
The thing is, this day, 13 years ago, the Badgers played a game in Camp Randall in an era where it seems like teams are trying to do more to play in unique venues. Is that an idea that you would explore trying to get back to, maybe playing in a Camp Randall situation or somewhere else that's a unique venue?
You know, I appreciate you sharing that because I didn't know that. Maybe I should have, but I didn't. But I've definitely seen some history on the walls here of that experience. Some people that have played in it had shared that with me previously. Life experiences are what these young men are after when they come to a university like Wisconsin. That's a lifelong experience. That's something that you can remember forever. So from a coach's standpoint, I'm on board if that's something that became an opportunity. Just because I've had a couple of those. We had one where we played on our football field at MSU, and I think if you ask some of those players as well as the staff, and I can speak on my own experience, it's something I'll never forget because it was unique. It was different. It brought me back to the days of playing outdoors, which is where the game started. So to me, historically, it's great. I think it allows a lot of people to have an experience other than just what's going on at that hockey game. So I'm a fan of them. I am.